I threw away that action I played in the last video, the demo layer. And once again, this image, if I click on the Artboard tool, you'll see is 5,000 pixels by 5,000 pixels. The idea that we start with an image that size is key to what we're doing here. Now, Illustrator can divide up those 5,000 pixels any way you like it, but Photoshop wants whole pixels. And that's why I've got 4x4, 5x5, 8x8, 10x10, 20x20. These go in, these are all evenly divisible into 5,000 pixels. Now, in order for this to work, and I didn't know this existed before I started making this, is how in the world do I select this? Because Illustrator doesn't recognize a selection. But in the Actions panel, I noticed there was Select Object with 3 dots. And when I click on it, this Set Selection comes up. What is this? Whose note has... What the heck is it? I know what a note is in Photoshop, but what is it in Illustrator? And I'll tell you what it is. That you have to select your base object. Then you have to go to the Attributes panel. Mine's right here, but you go up to Window, Attributes. And this action doesn't work without this. And you name this. Now, I named it 1 just to see if 1 would work. And the reason, and if this doesn't show up, you probably need to go ahead and click again and then say Show Note on this little hamburger menu. And then with this selected, you give it a name. And I named it 1 because I'm going to use this for selecting other things when we get beyond this mosaic, because there are things beyond this, and naming these different layers are going to be key to us. So there's number 1, is you have to name this. You have to give it a note. All right, and I don't know if you noticed. Well, no, that's going to come up. Okay, so I'm going to make a new action, and this one I'm going to do 25 by 25, because if there are 25 squares, 25 across, and this is 5,000 pixels, and you divide 5,000 by 25, you get what? 200. Third grade math. Okay, so these will be 200 pixel squares. And so let's go ahead and click on New Action, and we're going to name it, and I'm going to stick with my naming convention, 25x25 space, and then 200 px square. And click Record. Now, I'm going to stop here because in case I mess up, I want to not have to re-record the whole beginning of this video. But I want you guys to understand that if you didn't go through and name your attribute, you have to manually select this. And I know you're thinking, well, that's no big deal. It is a big deal when you really want to work fast, when you really want to crank these out, because why am I doing so many different ones? It's because when we overlay different sized grids, these mosaics in Photoshop and use blend modes and find edges, we get really interesting geometry we're not going to get any other way. So I have barely scratched the surface of this, and I already see this is got potential. So let's come back and let's finish our action.